if you are looking for validation from a parent, a teacher, a peer, a mentor, whatever it is, they're either going to validate you or they're not.
Yeah.
And if they're not giving you that validation, what are you still seeking for it for?
So it's just get rid of all the ego, get rid of the emotion, like you said, and be the student in the room.
Be the student, yeah.
When you set a goal and you set a mind to a task and then you plan accordingly to be able to achieve it, as long as you believe in yourself that you can do that, it ain't as bad as you anticipate it being.
No matter how hard it gets, no matter how bad you think life is, it is going to be okay. It's always okay.
You've got to speak out. You've got to talk to people. And I think sometimes the ones that seem to have it all together, the ones, it's that phrase, who's motivating the motivator?
I outworked every single person.
Yeah.
I learned every stage of my industry. So I could talk from experience, not from a textbook.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Rich in Success podcast, the show that brings you motivation, education, and inspiration on how you can live a happier, healthier, a more successful, and a more fulfilling life. Thank you, as always, for being here. My name is Matt Hall, and guys and girls, it is almost the end of what has been an incredibly successful year for us here at Rich in Success. A year of growth, a year of learning. And I just thought that it was the perfect time to take some time to reflect on this podcast and some of the lessons that we've picked up along the way, speaking to a variety of different guests. I gave Jimmy the task, the grueling but exceptionally positive task of going through the archives of everything we've shot over this year to try and bring you some of the best highlights from this year. I genuinely believe in what we do here at Rich in Success. I've always said my mission and vision is to be able to help as many people around the world, and I cannot do this alone. So I want to say a massive shout out to all the guests that have played a part in coming and joining me on this show, in sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, their information, their experience. And I really, really hope this will be a super valuable episode, as we've just taken, as I say, some real highlights to give to you as this year draws to a close. As always, don't forget, do share this episode if you find this valuable, and hopefully it may just inspire some other people out there to be able to move forward positively and progressively in their lives. Without further ado, please enjoy episode 154. This is 8 lessons from 2021. And just before we dive straight into today's Rich in Success podcast episode, I wanted to share with you what becoming a Rich in Success member could actually do for your life. Now, if you're somebody that is at a point where you're serious about positive change, whether that be in your health, your well-being, your mindset, your business, your career, your finances, or your relationships, the Rich in Success membership is perfect for you. For just £39 a month, you get access to over 40 training videos where I'll be taking you through everything from goal setting. We'll be looking at high performance habits. We'll be looking at different changes you can make to your mindset and your attitude that are going to be able to propel you to have more success in every single area of your life. And in addition to these training videos, every month you will get a live group coaching call with me where you can ask me any questions about the content or about things that you're going through in your life, so that I can help you personally as your coach. And as well as that, there will be exclusive bonus interviews with experts in a variety of fields. I'm bringing together the best minds, the best experts from all around the world to give you access to the very best content to help you move forward in your life. All this for just £39 a month, reoccurring subscription that you can cancel at any time. To become a Rich in Success member today, please click the link below or head on over to richinsuccess.com where you can sign up there. And I will look forward to seeing you in the exclusive members area very soon. Okay, so the first clip that we are sharing today is taken from an episode earlier this year when I sat down with my cousin and fellow co-founder of Rich in Success, Mr. Dan Ramsden. He's also a personal trainer and a lifestyle coach himself. And in this clip, we spoke about the time that the two of us embarked on breaking 2 world records. Now, for the world record, we had to stay speaking consistently for, I believe it was just over 53 hours we did in total, doing the longest live audio stream for this podcast, for Rich in Success. And we chose this clip because it was great to be able to reminisce on such a massive challenge. But I think importantly that in and amongst the madness of doing something so tough, so challenging, and something that clearly requires determination and resilience, we still found a lot of fun in doing it. And this is a lesson that I've been very conscious of reminding myself more than ever over this past 12 months is success isn't just external. It's not just about focusing on the goals we want to achieve extrinsically. It's not just about doing the things like the bodybuilding shows or indeed breaking world records. It's genuinely finding the joy, the gratitude, and the appreciation in the moment whilst going through the journey. Enjoy this clip. Shall we talk about breaking a world record?
Shall we?
What was that like for you? Because it's something we kind of have touched upon as family members, talking about a big thing we've done, but I don't think we've ever really, because we were just chatting for 53 and a half hours, non-stop, right? When you get to the end of something like that, first of all you want to do is sleep. Second of all you want to do is never talk to anyone again. So normally when you go through an event in life, immediately after you dissect it and you talk about it. We never really did that, really.
Well, we were spent, weren't we?
We were done.
We were absolutely done.
And then literally after that, we stopped working together. So shall we have that chat now? What was that experience like for you, man? We broke a world record.
I know, it were an amazing feeling. It were an amazing achievement. Obviously, you don't get handed something like that on a plate. You've got to work hard for it. But I've got to say, in all honesty, when you set a goal and you set a mind to a task and then you plan accordingly to be able to achieve it, as long as you believe in yourself that you can do that, it ain't as bad as you anticipate it being. We were having deep and meaningful conversations with so many awesome people that were educating, inspiring, motivating in lots of different ways. I loved it. There were some funny moments as well.
There were some very bizarre moments, at least. Those early morning, 3 a.m. Because that's the thing. You have a long day when you're delivering content, you're speaking, and you get to the end of that day and you're like, wow, I'm done. Well, then we've got to keep going past midnight, past 1 a.m., past 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And at that point, you just start being delirious.
Yeah.
We were only allowed no longer than 5 seconds dead air time. So if we paused for 6 seconds, the world record's off. So you've got to keep that momentum going. And when you're doing that at 4 a.m. on the second day in a row of not sleeping.
Yeah, that was special. I'd reached a peak of delirium when you were speaking to Lee Brennan.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'd scheduled a 30-minute power nap because we were allowed 30 minutes.
Was it 30? I thought it was less, but maybe it was.
I think it was. Well,
it felt like less.
It felt like 30 seconds, to be honest.
Horrible. That was the worst point in the whole thing, is waking up from that.
Well, you're so stimulated. My eyes, like, it was mad. I closed my eyes to go to sleep, but they'd not been closed for that long. And I was seeing patterns and shapes because we'd been looking at a screen. We had the lights on us. We'd not had any fresh air or anything. And I was just like, whoa, fucking hell, this is an experience. And then I laid down and everything just went really quiet. And then the next thing were, Dan, you need to get up. And I'm like, I ain't even is this 30 minutes? I'm like, you're joking, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then I walked out of the room and you just were like, wow.
You look like you're on drugs. But I'm talking hardcore drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not talking dabbling in a little bit of weed. Like, he had done the hard
Like some
stuff.
proper hallucinogenic.
Everything. Loads of it as well. You were so spaced out.
gone.
And what did you say that really, really made me laugh? Can you remember? There was something where you came out at that moment and you just interrupted me in the middle of interviewing. I think it was Lee.
It were Park Life, wasn't it? And I said it like Blur. You know that song?
Yeah,
Park
you
Life.
just randomly
But
said
he
that.
said something about life. And then that was the first thing that came into my head, and I just said it. Like,
Park
that's
Life.
the thing about that. You know, when you're so fucked, like, you can't control anything. You don't have a thought process. Things just start coming out that...
When you reach a certain level of being sleep deprived, it is more dangerous than being drunk.
Yeah.
Like for driving. So that's where we were at, right? 53 hours. And I think one of the hardest things is when you're exhausted and you finally get to sleep, you're like, right, I now need to sleep for 10 hours. But you just get 30 minutes and then get woken up. You feel 25 billion times worse for that sleep. And I mean, my mood was horrendous. I was like, fuck this, fuck the world record, fuck everybody. I just hate you all. It was the lowest my mood's ever been in that moment when we woke back up.
My mood really dipped when we'd done like 24 hours. And I was like, oh,
this is bad.
fuck, we've got to do this again. Like, this has been tough, but we've got to do it again.
And more.
Some. And I was like, oh. But that's the thing about any task that you're going to do. If it's going to be a big task, you'll get moments within that task where your brain's really trying to talk you out of it. Doesn't matter whether it's a personal best lift in the gym. If you've never lifted 60 kilos before on a deadlift and you're approaching it, you're going to get a lot of things going on in your head saying, I don't think you can do this.
Yeah.
You'll always get that. Always. But when you get used to ignoring it and going through it and succeeding again, that's then when you can have the stupid mindset of going, let's do a world record then. Yeah. Because you just get used to not listening to that nonsense that happens in your head. But I've got to say that was the toughest part of it for me.
Yeah.
When we did the 24 hours, it was about 7 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday. And I was like, fucking hell, this is going to be a long drag this now. But we did it.
But we did it anyway.
Okay, so next up, we've got a clip with my best friend, Dan Mains. Now, Dan and I go back over, I think, about 13, 14 years of friendship now. He's been in my band. We've worked together and spent many, many hours on the road together. And back when we first became friends and started working together, we kind of had very different approaches to life, very different approaches to what success is. And as all the regular listeners know and people that follow me online, you know, I've been on this journey of really trying to identify what success is. And obviously I sit down with people every week as part of this podcast to really, for my own selfish reasons, to try and grill people that we perceive as being successful and find out what success is to them. One of the things that I love is, for Dan, it's about the simplest of things. And something, again, that I've really, really come to learn and to focus more on is finding appreciation for the simpler things and enjoying the simpler things. And this is one thing that I know, as I say, as someone that's known Dan for a lot of years now, I can see as his friend that he's genuinely happier than I've ever known him. And as I think I say in the clip, you know, it's not a case of he's not got millions of pounds and he's not got abs and a six-pack and all this kind of thing. But what he has got is true fulfillment and genuine happiness for the life that he leads. And I think a lot of us, especially us entrepreneurial kinds that are always looking for the next big win and always looking for, you know, bigger and better success, I think we can learn an awful lot from Dan.
If you was to go back now to like your 16-year-old self, what would be the main thing you'd teach him? What would you tell him?
It's a tough one because I'd never go back to him and say, don't do this, don't do that, don't make that mistake that you're going to make and stay away from them or stay away from this, that and the other.
Do it all again.
I'd do it all again, yeah. Purely because I am a great believer that if I hadn't have made even just one of those mistakes that I've made in the past or one of those moves that I've done, then I wouldn't be sat here today. I wouldn't be with Bonnie, Ella, and Emily. I wouldn't have any of that. And like some of them, I probably wouldn't even be a singer. You know, I wouldn't even have that as a job. So I'd never say that. I probably the only thing I would say to him is, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how bad you think life is, it is going to be okay. It's always okay, no matter what. I mean, I'm sure, you know, I'm not sitting here now saying that I've made it and that's, you know, that's the end, I'm here. Anything could go wrong.
I've arrived.
Tomorrow, yeah, anything could go wrong tomorrow or next year or next week. Anything can happen. But I do know that it will always be okay. I've always believed in that. So I'd just say that to him. You know, say it will always be all right. It's like yourself, you know, you've been through breakups in the past. And, you know, you get to a point where you're like, oh, God, it's the end of the world. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm never going to recover from this.
That feeling of how can I ever get over this heartbreak?
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible. But then 2, 3, 4 years down the line, you look back and go, why was I that bothered about that? Why did I even shed a single tear over that? You know, because
no offense to all our exes.
Oh, lots of offense to every single one of them.
That's where we're different. Right there.
But no, only joking. No.
Sort of. Kind of.
It's like a Ben Stiller film.
He's not joking at all.
I'm joking, but no, seriously, I'm not. Yeah, so yeah, that's.
I love that, and I totally agree, because I think you actually become a better person for the experience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you was to take the experience out, it's like talking about really appreciating the good things in life. You only get that when you've really been through the bad stuff.
Exactly.
And it's a deeper level of appreciation when you've been through it. But I think the beautiful thing you've said, and the important thing that you've said, is knowing it will be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's the message to always remember, is no matter how hard it gets, it will get better. And I do believe that.
So there you go. Now, next up, I was delighted to be joined once again on this podcast by alignment coach and relationship coach, Miss Dimple Thacker. And in this particular clip, we speak specifically about fear. And I know fear is something that holds so many people back. And I think it's such a shame. People fear judgment. People are fearful of failure. And ultimately, we all need fear in order to succeed. You will have heard it many times before that we cannot grow, we cannot learn, we cannot develop if we're operating solely in a comfort zone. And this is something that I think Dimple describes in great detail, and I think it's a super valuable lesson. Check this out.
Fear is always going to be there. It's actually the way that I keep safe. Because when I feel fear, it's telling me, Dimple, you're going in the right direction. Because what it's telling me is there's a cycle, if we can imagine like a circle and then another circle outside of it and another one outside of it. So 3 circles, right? The middle one is my comfort zone. That's where I don't feel any fear. That's where I'm so happy and comfy, right? Then we've got another circle, and that is the edge of your comfort zone, right? That is where we feel fear. And then the 3rd circle is panic. Now, the key is to sit in your, on the edge of your comfort zone, right? It's bloody uncomfortable there. Because here's the piece. If we were all sitting in our comfort zone the whole time, we wouldn't do anything different. And when we don't do anything different, we don't grow. And like you said, the adventure of travel is that you grow and experience new things. But it's not comfortable, right? I still have to sit on my bloody suitcases and worry that, are they too heavy? Are they, like, these are first world problems. I know this, right? I still have to feel uncomfortable that my daughter, I haven't seen her in 5 weeks. I have to sit with that as a mother. And I have to also know that she's growing and exploring in her own way and she's safe. Right? And yes, she did have the wild parties. Yes, she did all that. And we grew through it as parents. She grew through it. These are all real things that we have to experience. Right?
What I love that's beautiful is what you're saying is embrace the fear. See it as an actual necessity for growth. And don't demonize that as a bad thing. learn to live with it in a positive way and know it's an indicator you're going in the right direction. At the end of
It's my
it,
friend. It's my friend.
Yeah.
Fear is my friend. If there's no fear, I'm going, maybe I'm going in the wrong direction. Maybe I'm not stretching myself enough. Maybe I'm getting too comfortable sat in that middle zone, right?
that's where you start to make less money. That's where you start to get fat again. That's where your self-worth and self-belief goes lower. Then you can get depressed, relationships break down.
All of that, right? And actually, what then happens is when you learn to sit in the middle one, where is your stretch, right? Where it's uncomfortable, eventually what happens is that middle one where you were uncomfortable becomes the norm. So that stretches your comfort zone, right? So your level of what you're comfortable with grows. So my level of not knowing where I'm going from day to day has grown. I've got so comfortable with that.
Okay, next up, we're joined by two of my good mates, Joel and Liam, who are both personal trainers. And this is a really, really important lesson, especially to all you people that are in the business of helping others, and also especially to all you parents out there. For so many of us, when we are naturally giving people, we can get into a position in life where we give, and so often we forget to give back to ourselves. This clip is really important if that is you. Check this out. There's a saying that I always say, you cannot give what you haven't got. And it's so important. You got to be selfish before you can be selfless. Otherwise, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yes.
If you're not giving to you first, if you're not having the people in your corner to speak to nurture you, to get your shit off your chest. That's like we went for a coffee and had a chat, and you said the next day, you were like, thank you. I actually appreciated just someone listening and getting shit off my chest. It's absolutely fucking crucial.
That's where
in your industry.
That's where I'm quite bad for it, because I don't talk to anyone. I can
about your own stuff, you mean?
Yeah.
Do you know?
No, I don't. It's just my mum, and that's it. That's the only person.
But you do have someone though, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right then.
Don't worry.
No, that's good. I've got you. I've got your back, by the way. But you know.
No, but that's what I mean. No, like you can look like this person, but as soon as you walk back out of that gym into your car, you're just back into it. And
I mean,
you know what I mean,
people can judge, can't they? And again, using social just because it's there and everyone's got it. Social media is a great example. You can see, oh wow, this person's looking like this person's doing that.
Bullshit.
You can't fucking Scooby Doo what's going on between their ears.
You haven't got a clue.
No.
But this is why it's so important, not just to sort of say that cliche kind of phrase, but it's like you've got to speak out. You've got to talk to people. And I think sometimes the ones that seem to have it all together, the ones, it's that phrase, who's motivating the motivator? Who's Who's there for the person that's there for everybody else?
Who's giving the therapist therapy?
100%.
You know what I mean? And that's massive.
I learned
and it's an ego thing, right? As well. It's not just a professional. It's not just I'm looking out for you. It's how can I tell these people that I'm the savior for them, and for that hour I give to them? How can I tell them I'm struggling?
Yeah. And also, as well, this is massively coming from experience. As soon as you open that can of worms, it's open. Then floodgates are open. They ain't shutting. That's why you don't talk about it, Matt.
But it has to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, let's go cliches. What's the other one? You know,
we've done a lot there. That's my fault. Sorry.
No, it's true. And I've
cliches for a reason. Right?
I went through some stuff 12, 18 months ago, and it's like, you know, I had a friend, and fucking hell, this too shall pass. He kept saying this to me. You know, what you're going through now,
everything passes.
It will pass. It will pass. And you've got to keep thinking that, and putting one foot in front of the other is massive. And that's how people can overcome depression and find things to help them move forward. As long as they are moving forward, doesn't matter how fast, doesn't matter in what direction, as long as they're going
doing
forward,
something,
they will get through it. And as trainers and as therapists as we are, you I don't know if you get this yet, Liam, but you'll get clients that become really close to you, which is great.
Oh, yeah, I've already built some relationships like that where they want to talk to you about everything, what's happening at home, what's happening with this, what problems, Go on then, Joel.
Well, yeah, but they'll offload onto you. And I did, again, when you sign up to be a PT, I did it before I got popular, but I love the job straight away, as you know, we said why, but they'll offload onto you and you don't, and it happened to me loads, but a couple of people recently can offload, and you don't actually realise it, but you take it on board, you know.
do.
Spiritually, you take it
Some
on
of
board.
it's subconscious. You don't realise it, it'll just come out.
And I can find myself, like, I get home one day and I'm like, why do I feel so down? What's
You've
happened
got to
today?
think, you're in a profession of care. So it's like, as personalities, naturally, you want to make people feel better.
People don't realise this when they see your stories, or when they see you walking around gym, bouncing around gym. They don't see it, and also they might be watching this podcast now or listening to it and think, whatever, mate. But you know what? You do take people's problems in, and you do have to compress and deal with them, because at the same time as you, especially me, I'm an empath massively. I care about these people.
Okay, so next up, we've got a clip from when I sat down and interviewed the co-founder of a $500 million business social chain. This is my chat with Dominic McGregor. And in this particular clip, Dominic gives his advice on how to lead a team, and importantly, how you should always stay a student.
Don't believe your own bullshit. Don't think you're always right. You know, you're not always right.
Yeah.
Ego is the single biggest killer of businesses.
Yeah.
The single biggest killer of relationships. Listen more. People know a lot more than you ever will. Listening is so important. You know, we only realised that social chain could have the potential when we started to listen to people who knew more about this sector than we did. We knew social media, but we didn't know agency, we didn't know marketing, we didn't know finance. So we just sat and listened to people and hired really smart people who told us what to do.
I think that's a big one. I think a lot of people have this DIY mentality of, you know, doing it their way, and they struggle to delegate.
But coming back to the ego, they don't want to hire someone who's smarter than them. There's an insecurity feeling of having people who are genuinely smarter than you in the room.
Yep.
And people who question their own worth.
So it's just get rid of all the ego, get rid of the emotion, like you said, and be the student in the room.
Be the student, yeah.
Always.
So much easier to say than do. So much easier, you know, because you're asking someone to literally, you know, pretty much stand there naked and say, I know nothing.
Yeah.
But that is a skill set in itself.
It's the ability and the courage to do that will help you move forward.
Exactly. And understanding where your value does sit. What you are singly best at.
Yeah. And then I guess double down on that, make that your priority.
Yeah.
Let everyone else do their thing.
That's why you see a lot of people now who are starting businesses not being the CEO, but maybe being the chief marketing officer or the chief brand officer or other areas like that, because that's where they know they're best at.
Yeah. I heard Gary Vee speak about it a lot. You know, you might be a great number 6 or a number 2. Stop trying to think you have to do it as the CEO.
Yeah, it's a football team. You can be the best right back in the world, but you're not a striker. He doesn't just swap into one place from the other, but it's a team that makes the work.
So the next clip is taken from when I sat down and spoke with one of my personal coaching clients, Miss Helen Ann. Now, Helen is one of the first people that I ever worked with when I first became a coach. And she went on to not only achieve one of her biggest goals, which was to finish her first ever novel, but also to release it and for it to be a real success. It's an absolutely amazing achievement that she has gone on to do. And in this particular clip, Helen speaks about when we were working together, when she started to really work on building her mental and emotional resilience. She started to realize that in order to achieve anything in life, when we can become tougher, when we can start to push what I call our perceived boundaries, then we start to be a person who realizes we're capable of doing so much more than we ever knew. Check this out.
This was when we were working together one-to-one, wasn't it? And right at the very beginning, and you've been saying to me, like, right, come on, you need to build some resilience, because I wasn't the most resilient person. I was somebody that the minute things started getting hard, I'd sort of bury my head in the sand and run away because I was frightened. And you'd said that to me, and you were like, I want you to have a good think. You said to me on a coach call, have a good think, set yourself a challenge. I want you to come up with something that's really going to push you, and you're going to have loads of consistency to see through, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh God, here we go. And we were in lockdown at the time. It had just started, hadn't it? And I was like, right, what can I do? And I thought, right, I've been going for a little walk every day anyway. So what if I turn it? I am a competitive person, so I like a good challenge. What if I turn it into this like goal that I've got to walk from here to Scotland? It just doesn't make sense, does it? But it was 200k I worked out was here to Scotland. So I was like, right, Matt, I'm going to walk from here to Scotland in 30 days. And I'm going to do it and I'm going to see it through. And I think I remember telling Dan, because Dan was working with you at the time, wasn't he? And I remember Dan being like, and I think he thought, you're not going to do that. There's no way she's going to do it.
That's never good when you set a fitness challenge and the fitness instructor's like, I don't think this is a good idea.
But I was like, I knew that it would be really good for my mindset, and that's why I wanted to do it, because with writing the book, obviously it requires an awful lot of consistency. It requires an awful lot of pushing yourself through when you don't want to do something, and getting up and holding yourself accountable. And to be honest, because I had anxiety and all the problems that I had, I was somebody that would let myself off the hook all the time and sort of like make excuses and all the rest of it. And obviously a lot of the work we've done have been around, no, you can't do that, you've got to be accountable, you've got to push yourself. So that's why I went for this challenge. And then obviously once I'd put it out there, I had to see it through. So I walked 200k and I gave myself 31 days, but I got that fed up by the end of it. I was sick of the sight of the local park. I was absolutely sick of it because I wasn't going that far afield. I was just trying to do it like in the local area because we were in lockdown. And yeah, I did it in 30 days in the end. But it was amazing as well because like it taught me a lot about myself. And
what would you say specifically? What were the things it taught you?
So it taught me that I have like the ability to overrule my own mind. It was learning that I had that ability to like hold myself accountable and to answer to myself and to push myself and to be like, no, you're gonna do it. I know you don't want to do it. I know you're tired. I know your alarm's going off at 6:30, but you're gonna get up, you're gonna get out of bed and you're gonna go and do it. And I think, like you've just said, it's a transferable skill in terms of then applying it to writing a book, building a personal brand, whatever you're doing, building a business. To set yourself a completely unrelated challenge can actually teach you a lot about yourself.
Next up, we've got my conversation with the Clubhouse King himself, Mr. Ashley Shipman. And one of the things that really struck me about Ashley is that from such a young age, he always had massive self-belief. He always had courage and he always took massive risks. And this is something, you know, we talk about in coaching and NLP is we speak about how we can model the behaviors of successful people. And for me, that is a common trait time and time again when you study people who have achieved things at a high level. They have to be resilient. They have to be risk takers. They have to back themselves, believe in themselves, and have massive courage. Here, Ashley shares his story.
I left school when I was 15. I went to the city because what actually happened was I ended up hanging around, as you say, and with an older years. So I was always with people that was 6, 7, 8 years older than me. Like I wanted.
That's interesting. I was the same. It's something about, I don't know, it's maybe that maturity, isn't it? Like I always felt like the people my age were just immature. They didn't get it. They didn't see the bigger picture.
No, that statement hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I'm around people that are talking about making moves for their future and like buying lovely things, buying new cars at the time when it was all the thing when you were that age. And how was they doing it? And at the time where I'm quite close to London, it was to get in the city. I don't know if it's still the same up there, but it was a statement. If you could get up there...
Yeah. You're doing good.
You're doing good.
Yeah.
And you would find a way to do good. And I only noticed that when I was up there for a while, the opportunities just come. But getting up there, I've said this previously, and I don't say it a lot, but I started as a post boy. I was so resilient, just knocking on doors. I would research the HR manager's name.
Yeah.
I'd walk in, I've got a meeting with so-and-so.
And you didn't?
And I didn't. So I got a lot of, no, you haven't. And one woman, I won't say her name, but she was like, have I missed something? And then I sort of just said, I just need an opportunity to get my foot in the door. And she was just like, let's go and have a chat then. She was like, we have nothing available. I said, it's just give me the opportunity. And nothing come of it a while, and then a little bit passed. And she said, I haven't stopped thinking about like what you done, like
the confidence, the courage.
Like she's like, I've never had that happen to me before, but the way you articulated it, the way you prepared, the way you walked in with that confidence and got noticed. And I just said, look, I just need an opportunity. And from that, we was just talking. She was like, these companies that they can afford to have a bit of dead weight in the business, and that's basically what I was.
That's what the start.
That's what I was doing. And I sat there opening letters for the brokers all day. That's all I done. And within 3 weeks, they gave me to work as a desk assistant. Then things just went very, very fast. Like when I had like the big boys in the office, they say, do this, do that. I was doing it, implementing it, taking action. And this is where a lot of people I see in life get given such phenomenal advice. And
Don't act on it.
Act on it.
Yeah.
Like act on it
immediately. Just go.
Just go. Like
yeah.
And from that, I had a very, very fast moving career. Like I've done very well for myself. Like for my age group, like I was overtaken. I was like, but as they say, with any high, there's always a low. And on that journey from going to postboy to running a floor, like and helping build a company, I was young and
you in charge of how many people?
It went from 50 to 80, and
you were how old?
24.
Madness.
24, and
you had people older than you looking to you for the answers that you were having to lead.
But the reason is, and this is what I want to make very clear, like people go, oh, like you must have got lucky. Like no, I outworked every single person. Yeah. I learned every stage of my industry. So I could talk from experience, not from a textbook.
And in the final clip from our 8 lessons of 2021, it is a pleasure to bring you my conversation with Game of Thrones and Ackley Bridge actress, Miss Megan Parkinson. If you've not already checked this episode out, you've got to. I definitely laughed and cried and almost cried from laughing. It's an episode unlike any episode we've ever done. I think a super valuable episode as much as it is hilarious and very, very entertaining at the same time. But one thing she talks about in this clip is something that if you want success at a high level in business, or if you're going to put yourself out there in a profession such as, being an actor or a coach or leading a team or building a brand, you're often going to come under a lot of criticism. You're often going to get a lot of people judging you. And unfortunately, along the way, you will get hate. You will get people that are putting you down and want to bring you down. And something that I think is really, really important is having a good awareness and perspective on this and having the ability to keep moving forward objectively, regardless of the potential negativity you will get along the way. So I think this is a really important clip to listen to. Check out this one. How do you deal with that, presumably at times, daily messages?
Yeah. Bobble
and you've
hats.
still got to keep showing up, just a bobble hat.
Bobble hats and a shit ton of makeup. I just didn't deal with it well at all. Right. I was so unconfident and, I just was not, I didn't look like me on the outside. I didn't feel like me on the inside. I was going through this past relationship at the same time. So I just had there was no echo of me at all at that point through that whole show. I just didn't recognize any of it.
I think that must have been so hard because our identity is everything. And your actual physical appearance plays a massive part in how you feel about yourself, your identity, but you're literally taking on somebody else's appearance. Yeah. And then you've got to somehow still be you in between.
When the cameras stop rolling. I think it comes from the way to cope with it was to try and implement the authenticity of who I knew I was and know I am now, which is to be kind, to be generous. So when the cameras stop rolling, I know all the names of the cameramen. I know all the names of the gaffers. I say hi to everyone. I ask the runner if he wants a cup of tea, not if I want a cup of tea, if he wants a cup of tea. So it was very much not being overly nice to make up from the fact that I felt I looked aggressive and shit. But it was trying to go, who am I as a person? I'm a very nice person.
Yeah.
Just trying to be nice.
What that is, in effect, is focusing on internal validation rather than external.
Yeah.
So when the external includes a load of wankers throwing a load of hate at you, and you, because as performers, as actors, whether we like it or not, we do seek external validation because the whole industry's set up.
That's why we're in the job.
Correct.
Yeah.
But real fulfillment, I believe, is when you can work on that internal.
Yeah.
And what you were doing there, in essence, was it's almost like you versus you. Can you go to sleep every night and know that I'm a good person, my intentions are pure, and I'm doing good every day?
Yeah.
When you can do that at a high level, the external validation doesn't have to be as prevalent. And when it's negative, you can kind of just let it go.
Yeah.
And there's always a block and a delete online, right? So
block
blessed
on
with that, yeah.
block on TikTok's the best.
Yeah. I bet you like that.
Yeah. As
button
soon
gets
as
used.
there's a negative comment on one of my TikToks, that's it, blocked. I don't have to Facebook stalk, not Facebook stalk. I don't have to profile stalk. None of that.
Yeah,
Just
don't
block
need
it
that in my life.
instant. Yeah, don't need it. Because you do, validation is an open door. It is, they're either going to walk through the door and validate you or they're not. And I think until people realize it is that yes or no, it's that thing of, it's like that thing when your friends tell you, if he wanted to be with you, he'd be with you.
Yeah.
And you're sat here going, yeah, but he's, no, it is as
just trying to
black
find you-
and as
yeah.
white as that.
Yeah.
And it's the same with validation. If you are looking for validation from a parent, a teacher, a peer, a mentor, whatever it is, they're either going to validate you or they're not.
Yeah.
And if they're not giving you that validation, what are you still seeking for it for?
Yeah.
Try and give it to yourself.
100%. So there you go. Thank you as always for listening to the Rich in Success podcast. I really do hope you found this super valuable. And before we finish, I just want to make you aware of a few things. First things first, it would mean the world to me if you could help me out. As I say, my mission and vision is simple. I want to help as many people as possible to live happier, healthier, more successful, and indeed more fulfilling lives. But I cannot do this as just one man with a fantastic videographer, Mr. Jimmy, behind the camera. We cannot do this alone. So it would mean the world to me if you would help me to help others be able to help themselves just by sharing this episode with somebody that you think will find it valuable. If you could stick it on your Instagram stories, throw it in somebody's DM, stick it on your Facebook wall, whatever you could do, it would be massively appreciated. And also I want to let you know that on Monday, the 3rd of January 2022, we are once again going to be running the highly popular, highly in demand 5-day Life Accelerator Challenge, completely free. Okay, so this is a 5-day free challenge that I run a couple of times a year. It's the perfect time of the year if you want to make 2022 your year, if you want to set it up in the correct way with the right habits, the correct accountability, the support, the correct behaviors, and indeed be around a community of like-minded action takers. Make sure you email my PA sarah.king@be-organized.co.uk to secure your space on the free 5-day Life Accelerator Challenge. And also, if you haven't already, do make sure you sign up for just a trial price of £19 for the first month. You can become a Rich in Success member where you'll get access to all the membership content as well as live coaching sessions with me every single month. For more information on that, head over to richinsuccess.com, click on the membership area, and I hope to see you in there very, very soon. But until then, thank you as always for listening. I hope to see you on next week's podcast episode as the journey of self-discovery and personal growth continues. I'll see you then.